what it means to her and what are some of the first things that come to mind when she thinks of ownership?
I think it kind of expands across many different situations. Ownership is really, in my opinion, owning everything that you do, everything that you say. Every action creates a reaction. So sometimes it's the words that we speak, it's the way we go about things. And then the flip side of that, I would also say it's owning how you feel. I mean, that's huge, and that I think is one of the biggest stumbling blocks for many people out there. If they're feeling unhappy, they think there's something completely wrong. And I don't think we're really taught as children that it's okay to be sad, as long as we're not being sad for extensive amounts of time.
Sure.
You know, everything in moderation. But I think it's important to acknowledge, what does happiness feel like? What does sadness feel like? What does anger feel like? You know, what does excitement feel like? Just because that is owning a huge part, which is the emotion. And when we can get a grip on our emotions, moving from a child into a teenager, you know, into an adult, I think then we can learn to cope with things better. And I don't think we're taught these things as we should be. I think there's so much more that we could be doing to help children, because it's the first 7 years of a child's life when everything kind of gets thrown in. They're the habits that we all learn, and then we have to spend the next however many years trying to reshape all those habits that have caused us sometimes real bad turmoil and sometimes some very good moments. But I don't think we're given enough about owning who you are. And as long as you're acting, this goes into a bit of character, as long as you're acting with integrity, then we can own everything. And if you're not acting with integrity, then you need to own that as well, because it's a huge developmental part of being aware and being mindfulness. How about you? What comes to mind for you with ownership? Again, we've had different paths and, you know, we've played out different things in our lives. So what's a trigger point for you?
Definitely ownership and integrity and owning things. And I was just really thinking about when you were talking about feelings, because I think right now, you know, and kind of the climate of what's going on in the world, we're not always allowed to feel our feelings. And again, you're absolutely right. You know, when we're unhappy, or when we're feeling, you know, just a little bit off, or we're just not feeling quite right, it's okay. We can't have a great day every day. We're not perfect. And, you know, that can be a mask, honestly, for a lot of people, right? To put on that mask of like, oh yeah, everything's great. Guilty.
Yeah.
And it's not. And to be able to own those feelings and accept them, you know, and take a moment for yourself to kind of work through it.
100%.
Huge.
And I was having a conversation with a good friend last night about saying, I'm fine. It's such an existence. Nobody should be fine. I'm sorry if you're watching this and you say I'm fine. Fine is an existence in life, and we shouldn't be existing. We should be living. We should be thriving, guys. Life is so precious. It really is so precious. And we do say I'm fine, and again, we can only own that emotion at the time when we're going through something.
Yeah.
And often we think we're fine, and we come out of a situation feeling, oh my God, I looked back and thought, I wasn't fine at all.
At all.
And sometimes we need people in our lives to go, hey, I don't think you're fine right now. Come on.
Well,
We don't always have those people in life that can call us out on our stuff, but you know, it's just so paramount that this, I'm fine. Are you having a good day? Yes. Are you really having a good day? Like, shout it from the rooftops if you are. And again, if you're not, just have a conversation, you know, seek a friend. Maybe you just need to have 24 hours of quiet time and get your little furry friend if you have one and snuggle with a blanket.
Yeah, because we all know that fine, excuse my language, is effed up, insecure, neurotic, and emotional.
There you go.
Oftentimes, when we're fine, we are not fine. You know, it's something that I was taught years and years ago, and I always acknowledge that when I go, oh, I'm fine, and I'm cruising along. I go, you know, is there something going on?
Yeah. We need to be aware of our thoughts, and again, that goes back to owning. And I think once you get onto that sort of road and journey of ownership, there's so much. I mean, it just blossoms, and it can really bring up some deep roots of where there is some dark pain, and that's never easy for anybody to deal with. And if you are watching and you know you think there are some things that you need to own that perhaps you've not been entirely honest with yourself about, or you've done things that you perhaps think weren't the right things to do, and you've gotten to places where you think you're just acting in a way that's fake, you know, because we are wearing a mask, we're just going around smiling, and you know, deep down you're not owning on what's going on. And it's the hardest thing to look at, is to look inside and look at you. But when you can own that, I promise you, I know you're going to think that that pain of what you need to go through to release is going to hurt. But
well, it is.
It is going to hurt. But I'm telling you, that excitement and that fulfilling life that you are going to move on to live after you've dealt with that pain is way, way bigger.
Yeah.
And it's so worth it. And you can do it.
Yeah, it's like the door slam, break on through to the other side. Yeah, I totally just aged myself right there. But it's true. Now, I want to talk about the flip side also of ownership, just on a more positive note, because I do think it's very important to, of course, walk through those feelings, get through the other side, because then we can live a more authentic life and the life that we're meant to be living. But on the flip side, owning your day was starting it and feeling good. And I think one of the biggest ways for me that I start my day and owning it and feeling good is to try and get endorphins going early in the morning, right from the get-go. And that way, when I walk into the day, I can really own it. I can go, you know what? Today's an integral day. Today's, I got this. It's going to be a good day, and being able to walk in through it. So endorphins, singing in the shower.
Playing a happy song in the morning.
Yep, playing some good tunes in the morning, giving someone in your family or that's around you, if you do live with someone, a hug, and make sure it's 20 seconds, because that's when the endorphins kick in.
Sure does.
Yeah, you know, just some ways that you can positively start your day, right? To get that positive ownership going, so that you can really, really take on your day full speed.
It's energy. You know, I can look back at what's happened in my life in a month. It's crazy. You know, I went from a place of thinking I'd not got no job, nowhere to live, and got no money, and within a month I've now bought a place. I was going to lease it, but I've actually bought it. You know, I've got a full-time position, which is a great role, which I'm loving.
Yes.
I've booked a flight to go back home to England for quite a good few amount of weeks, and I've owned every part of that, because it's momentum. And when you own one thing and it's exciting and it creates momentum, then guess what's going to happen? Because like attracts like, something else is going to come. And that's exactly what's happened. And it just, again, sometimes what you just said, you've got the, I guess, the negative side. And when you own that, perhaps you are going to find that there's more negative aspects coming into your life.
Sure.
And the flip side, if you can own that happiness, and if you can wake up in the morning with a really happy song and own that day, then good things are going to come as well. And it has to be a balance, guys. We're not going to live on that happy step or ladder every single day. Wouldn't be normal.
No.
And without that darkness, there is no light. So we do need both to be able to learn and, again, be able to go through different experiences.
Oh, sure.
But yeah, if we can own that good part of that momentum, then something else comes, and then we elevate a bit more, and we elevate a bit more. So, but again, as you say, starts at the beginning of the day, however that looks for somebody.
It does. I mean, what is it, waking up on the wrong side of the bed, right?
Yeah.
I've done it. You know, and then you kind of go around through life that day with that little bit of grumble. It's like that little bit of steam that's coming off your head, and people will go, oh, I think I'm going to stay away from her today.
Yeah.
Right? People feel it.
Yeah.
People feel it. But
energy.
You've had some exciting things happen, and you were following your heart, and you were following your gut. And those are the big ways, too, to own your day. Rather than being up here all the time, because being up here, you know, so of course we got to think through things and logic, but when this is really speaking to you on a certain situation, listen to that.
Yeah, you've got to get out of your head.
Yeah, it doesn't steer you wrong.
No. It's hard if you, again, it's that whole believing. You know, people say, oh, but you believe in something that doesn't exist. How do you know? I've always believed. That's always been in me since a little child, and I know I've had people look at me and think like, you're crazy. Then I'm okay to be crazy, because I've never stopped believing. Through the ups and downs and things I've gone through, that one thing that's got me through it all is that belief that everything's going to be okay. Again, it's an ownership principle. Everything is going to be okay. You know, you own it. Even just driving here this morning, I was thinking, I knew I was going to get a good job. I knew I was going to find a new place to live. I know I'm going to meet the love of my life. I know it. And I know people, again, think, wow, craziness, but is it not better to think and live like that and live from such a great place in your heart?
Oh, absolutely.
Than to have doubt and fear and thinking that nothing good's ever going to come. I mean, again, like attracts like. Where would you rather be, in that pretty pink little picture or that dark grey? Sorry, but I want to be in the colourful.
No, absolutely, and that's where I'm at now.
Yeah.
But as you know, I wasn't there. I did live in the dark gray for quite some time. Fear-based behaviors, living in fear all the time, and that can manifest in so many ways. And that certainly doesn't make for brighter days, and it certainly doesn't make for a day that I'm owning in a positive way.
But how different, Lisha? I mean, again, you did go through a dark time, and I haven't been in a place like that, so I respect everything that you share. But how different is it for you now to be here and to look back and go, like, what do you feel about that experience, knowing now that you are in that heart and looking back? Like, do you have anything that comes to mind, or?
I don't know, just the fog lifted, you know, and why didn't I wake up sooner? I don't know.
Well, timing
Life's
is
got a lot of
everything.
gifts. Well,
Timing is everything.
Sure,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to sit here and regret about it, but I don't know, it feels good. It feels good to not worry so much. I used to worry a lot about things that weren't my business. Not my monkey, not my circus, but true. Or dwelling in the past, you know, because perhaps at that time I wasn't living in integrity, or because of things that I had learned when I was really young.
Sure.
Right? And being able to get out of those. And it's a satisfaction now. It's a happiness now. It's an inner peace now that I've never known. And I think a lot of it comes down to the fact that, yes, I own my day, trying to in a positive way every day with how I start it, but letting go.
Oh, you have to.
Letting go.
Yeah.
I just don't hold on to things like I used to anymore. Things that just don't matter in the big scheme of things.
There's just no point. I mean, resistance, again, it creates such negative emotions, and it creates overreactions because you're just holding on so tight.
Yeah.
You know, so that everything that ever happens is going to bother you. And life shouldn't be like that, you know. It doesn't matter. Just doesn't matter. What's happening to you is what matters. It doesn't matter what's happening out there.
No.
You know, we
It
can't,
doesn't
as we
matter.
say before, we can't change, you know, we can't change outside of that life, but we can change our life.
That's right. Can't change
You know?
anybody else or anything except for ourselves and the choices we make. And
So,
that's
yeah.
a good way to own your day.
Letting go it's a big one, and it's nice. I mean, you've proven that from what you've let go, and now you can be here and go, wow, it really did pay off. You know, it's easy for me to sit here, and I've been through different things, don't get me wrong, but I haven't been through the same things as you.
Yeah.
I haven't had to let go quite the same, but I've still experienced it at different times, and knowing if you can let go of resistance and be okay. But again, it comes down to trust, it comes down to that belief. If I could sprinkle it all on you, I would.
Yes.
Yeah.
If we could sprinkle that kind of Mainey magic and Lisha light, as I
Yeah.
like to say,
Put it
all
in a little
over
bottle.
you. Because life has so many gifts, and when you really own your day with that integrity, listening to your gut and listening to your heart, it just gets better from here.
So if there's something that you need to own, be it good, be it bad, then dig deep, you know, just own it, release it, let it go.
Let it go.